How do Christians deal with the problem of evil? Well, the first thing I want us to understand is that Christians understand the problem of evil in a fundamentally different way from non-Christians. That is, for non-Christians, or at least most non-Christians, the question of evil gets easily conflated or confused with a profoundly different question, which is the question of hardship or suffering. That the unbeliever looks at the world and they see suffering and hardship and unpleasantness. They see suffering and evil connected in this way, that there are evil men who inflict suffering on other people, which is absolutely true. But it's not a problem for the Christian, because the Christian understands that according to the Word of God, every single one of us, Christian and non-Christian, everyone who's ever lived, with the exception of Jesus of Nazareth, everyone who's ever lived is due nothing but hardship according to justice, because we are in ourselves wicked and rebellious sinners. So when a tsunami wipes out some coastal town and thousands die, it is certainly sorrowful and sad, but it is not a problem of evil happening. It is a action of evil being punished as it ought to be. For the Christian, the more difficult question is not why bad things happen to good people, because we affirm there was only one good person. It's true that bad things happened to him, but he volunteered for that job. Other than him, there are no good people. Rather, our question is, how did good people become bad in the first place? And that's difficult. It's a real challenge. There's no question about it. One of the things that we notice when we look at the creation account in Genesis 1 and 2 is not only the order in which God does things, what happened on day 1 and what happened on day 2, but there's something else that we often overlook, and that's this, that every day during the creation account, we're told that God assesses or judges his own work. The language that we find there in Genesis is, and God saw that it was very good, or God saw that it was good, and God saw that it was good. Then after the creation of man and the fullness of the creation, it was all very good. So you've got a good creation, a good God, a good man, a good wife when Eve is created. Well, how did they end up doing bad? Well, the easy answer, and this is one common to Christians, is free will. But there's a problem with that answer, a challenge and a difficulty, and it's this. Free will describes our capacity to act freely in accordance with our nature. And Adam and Eve's natures were good. Jesus himself says that a leopard can't change its spots, that you can't get good fruit out of a bad tree or bad fruit out of a good tree. So how is it that good Adam and good Eve came to sin? And the answer that I have is, I don't know. I know that it's under God's control. I know that God is sovereign over it. I know that God can do no wrong. And I know at the end of the day, as difficult as a problem this might be, as uncomfortable as I might be giving that answer, I don't know, it's a much easier answer to give than the question that those who aren't Christians have to answer. How can you call something evil without the existence of God? If there is no God, as Dostoevsky put it, all things are permissible. You cannot create a moral judgment against a Hitler or a Stalin or anybody else, because there's no standard above them by which we judge them. As I've said it 100 times, you can't get from the is of people crawling out of the primordial ooze by chance to any kind of ought that has a weight and a bearing on us. You can't get from is to ought. You can say what people do. What you can't say is what people ought to do. So that's a problem. So which means, by the way, you can't call something evil or even believe that evil and good are different things, and definable things. So that's the problem I'm glad I don't have. Where it came from in the beginning, I'm happy to say it didn't come out of God. It didn't come apart from God's plan or his sovereign power, but it doesn't taint his character either.